Fairy meat. Oh. Oh. Little update. The cast is off, but I've got a splint on now. I can wait there a little. Not a lot. I still don't have full feel of my thumb. But anyway, ducklings. They're about a week away from being fully grown. Look at this chunky boy. I reckon a swan got into the backyard and had some fun with Fendre because he's just chunk. And Bellatrix, I think, is actually a he. I mean, his vocals is exactly like a dude. Have they been hormonal yet? Not yet, but I do think Lucia is there. I don't think Lucia is definitely there. But yeah, Dusty here, I think she's got a little bit longer to go. She's Silver Appleyard. So the thing with Silver Appleyards, they are a much bigger bird. I just think it takes them longer to grow, including their feathers. Their plumage is quite a thing. So I think she's probably got at least another week or two of her plumage to be developed. One thing I'm always a little bit weary of is with ducks, young ducks. If they don't have all their plumage yet, putting them with adults because of the feather pulling that can occur, you know, just general pecking order and dudes and all that sort of business. I like them to have all their feathers. Their first feathers. I mean, in winter, those really soft feathers will go and they will get their real feathers in the first winter when they do their first molt. But look at this chunky boy. Oh, my beautiful. Butter. Do. You see how big he is? His neck is double the thickness of his dad. His bill is double the length. Well, not double. Better, 1.5 times the length. His feet are nearly double the size of his dad. But he does have a limp because, as you remember, he broke his leg when he was 2 weeks old. I do think he may have underlying disability, genetic defect in regards to development, and I think it might be, well, it might not actually be genetic per se. I think it may actually look his first curly whirl. You see that? It's starting to poke up. And I think it may have, it's either genetic or it's to do with the fact that he was born last and he probably didn't get enough oxygen. He was really struggling to get out of that eggshell, and if you go back on the recordings, you'll see that I actually had to get a tweezer and lift that last little bit of shell that he was struggling to break through. So I think the lack of oxygen has impacted him somehow. Not necessarily genetic. You know, I don't think he's had anything handed down, so to speak. I think it's a defect from the hatching out of the egg. But Bellatrix here, I think she's a he. But she's fully tricking me. Like, I really won't know until I see the noodles. So with drakes, they have like what looks like a spiral pasta noodle as a appendage, and I haven't seen your puppy. I haven't seen this puppy yet. The other thing too is I don't know how Potter is going to go with being able to mount females because with his bad leg, he's got this limp. Maybe in the water, but I don't know if he's going to be able to really do so out of the water. On the upside of that, he won't be as agile, so he's kind of a nice reprieve for girls compared to the other dudes. But personality-wise here, with Bellatrix, I'm actually thinking of calling her Loki because she's just full tricky. Or Raven. I don't know, we'll see. I really do like to name my birds according to their personalities, and, you know, sometimes personality hits you straight away, and sometimes, you know, personality doesn't really it takes a while to develop, or it takes a while for you to understand them, if you like. Little Lucia here, she's actually pretty big. I've got to say, when I got Luna, I was told she was 3 months old, but she was probably only 2 months old. Do you know what I mean? And she's still a little bit on the small side. And I just wonder, you know, because again, you can put your ducklings with the other ducks at 2 months old, but if they've still got growth to do and if they're still developing their feathers, or definitely still got growth to do, I think you do kind of stunt them, especially if they're starting to mate with the other ducks, with the boys. So I do think, especially the girls, it's crucial that you let them fully grow, you know, until you introduce them to the adults. But what do? You can only go by what the people you buy them from, where I bought Luna from. Hindsight, but you know, I was really short of females, so I had to put her with the others. Otherwise, you know, my other girls would have really been impaired more than what they already were with the too many boys to girls. But you know, I would have liked to have probably kept Luna separate for another 4 weeks to let her fully grow. But by herself, no. So, as you know, Suna, my Peking that's disabled outside, she's got a limp on her left leg because she's got a subslip, she's got a subslip of the intertarsal joint on the left side, subslip of the hock or ankle. So it's in the evening, she tends to really struggle to keep up with everybody. Potty here struggles to keep up with everybody. When he's had enough, he's like, yeah, I'm off. And the girls follow him. But it's nice to put him with Suna in the hydro, into the water for swimming, part of their physical rehab and maintenance in the afternoon. I put them in together, and they've already bonded, and I put them into their sleep box together as I get everyone else sorted and they get to spend time together. But yes, he's sort of given Suna a little bit of an extra lease on life, something else to look forward to. She's such a happy and full of life little duck, even though she's disabled and she really struggles. And you know, I have moments where I'm like, oh, not looking good, and you know, starting to think of putting her down, and you know, I just don't want her to be in too much pain. Yeah, she just pulls through. She's just an amazing little girl. Lucia. But yeah, so I may have 2 boys here. Oh, look, if I was further out, where I want to be next, you know, where I move next, sort of thing. But I need a car. If I was further out, no hesitation, I'd just actually go and get 2 or 3 girls for the 2 boys. But I can't. I'm pushing things as it is, especially where I am. I'm not really supposed to have that. They're poultry. You're allowed to have poultry, but they discriminate against ducks, which it kind of blows my mind, because I've got chooks and like chooks smell. Ducks don't smell, and ducks are very clean. It's just they need water, which is one of the other reasons why they really don't do well when you have them further out, because water becomes an issue when you get further out here in Australia. And then you've got all the predators as well, the extra predators. They really do suit backyard, suburban pets when you've got a garden. But, you know, ignorance, man. So, you know, I think part ignorance on councils and that sort of thing, but I also sometimes think these guys could literally fix all our soil problems and pest control, everything. They're just everything. They don't damage your plants like chooks do. And sometimes I think, oh, they're like that, councils and stuff like that, is because they don't want people being self-reliant. They don't want people being able to look after themselves. They don't want healing of the soil and things like that. They want dependence. Do you know what I mean? But I also do think it's ignorance too. Oh, honey. You're a boy. You're a boy, not a girl. Or are you a girl with funny vocals? We don't know. Hey, you're a bit of an enigma. Yeah. If anyone's wondering, you can actually do a blood test. Just like with human animals, there are only two genders. You can do a DNA test, you can do a blood test. The birds have the same thing. So they have two different sets, chromosomes, which will distinguish whether they're boy or girl. It doesn't matter what the development is, you get a test and you'll know for sure. So we're kind of, but you know, that's cost, isn't it? So we kind of don't know. Oh, honey. They're so beautiful. Want to go outside? Want to go outside? You've had enough chill beans? Yeah? Oh. I really want them with their dad, the two boys. What I think is a boy. See, the other thing too is I don't want this one here, if you know, she turns out to be a he, I don't want Fawn jumping on top of him. That's just going to create trauma for him, and he's just going to be aggro towards any other male duck. You know what I mean? So, you know, anyway, we're juggling. I'm going to turn this camera off, and I'm going to get these kids outside, and then I'll do another recording of them outside, and you'll see how big this boy is. He's chunk. Absolute chunk. You're the largest duck around. Yeah. We reckon you're part swan? Yeah. Patter, patter, patter. You kitty? Yeah. Anyway, blessed be Mary Part.